Hey guys, Gameboy3800 here once again. We're taking a look at some new old things, and Old Andrew Speedway has been updated since I've last taken a look at it, so let's look at this as well. Here we got El Toro Loco looking a little bit old school. Very old school, in fact. It's so old school that it's got the original engine and the original suspension model from the old days. Why? I just wanted to see how it would perform on a modern chassis, because the old chassis that these are based off of were actually awful. But now, with something actually competent, how do they perform? The motor does not make the same amount of horsepower as normal, makes about 50 less, and it makes its power in a different spot in the power band. It's more way down low. And the suspension is based off the original slide node design, because the first gen slide nodes I always thought was really good for pure freestyle, and I wanted to see if that would translate well into a modern chassis. And I haven't really gotten the chance to drive this suspension, so let's take a look. I used the in-house shocks as a base. I changed their values to be identical to the old design. I couldn't use the old suspension directly because it used a totally different coordinate system. It used YXZ instead of XYZ, or YZX instead of XYZ. One of those two. Basically, if I had tried to import it normally, the suspension would be sideways. And, you know, that's not too helpful, so I used the in-house shocks as a base and just put in all of its old values. Oh well. Synfix. I put in all the old values so that it would match perfectly. So if this is anything like the original slide node design, it would allow for a little bit more play, but also still give you good flexibility. It wouldn't just be super loose, you know? Because that's how it was before. It was super loose, but it was still good. It's no longer super loose, but it's still good. Or at least, you know, it's not detrimental to the truck's health or performance. So it's a different suspension option. It uses the original, like, inboard shock model here. You can see they animate very well. Oof. We take a look here at the parts menu. You can see I've labeled the suspension and engine as the legacy stuff. The original motor here uses a lot of fuel. It's not really efficient at all. The only exhaust we have are these old minuscule Magnaflows. I don't know why they're so small. I think the chassis has gotten better as well, so, you know, this engine looks way too small. Whereas before, in the old chassis, it looked more to scale. That just shows how much it's changed over time. There's no header options, there's no supercharger options. Transmission, I made it be the same good old Merlin one, I think, so, you know, that shouldn't be a problem. And fuel tank is fuel tank. I'm going to go into tuning menu so you can see gear ratios, that's the same. Got the suspension here. If I reset it, these are the default values of the old slide node suspension. It's a little bit odd. And the supercharger, you'll find that there is no supercharger to tune because it didn't have an adjustable supercharger back in the day. And for power, let's find out how much horsepower we are making with the torque curve app. Making 1448 horsepower, and we're making it a little bit up top, around 6,000. Normally, we make it around, 45, 5,000, and if you're running like a twin screw supercharger, it'll keep climbing. But here, it's a little bit different. I did up the efficiency a little bit from the original motor because otherwise it overheated actually instantly. Like 2 jumps it was smoking. Can you actually drive with the normal radiator though? Looks like you can, if you just, are slightly sensible. It's warm, but it's not instantly smoking, That front clip is going to kill us. Yep, I knew it. Good old BeamNG. Let's take a look at something else. Take a look at the mini truck. What I've done is I've actually reduced the grip because it now weighs less comparatively. So if you have the grip too high and it weighs so little, it'll actually just end up grip rolling every 2 seconds, or gripping up where it really shouldn't. Oof. This is not a very well scaled track for this truck. It's a good track, it's just not very well scaled. Let's go over to the racetrack, because there is an update that adds a miniature racetrack. Figure 8, so this would be an absolute banger for like online racing. The figure 8, the crossover. I'm not going the right way. Gotta do opposite NASCAR. We gotta do right turns, not left turns. God dang it. Okay, this is just something else new. I don't know how. We've popped the tires. Something is really grabby here. And the engine, despite having starting to take on water, has now dried up. I don't get it. I really do not get it. And there's a update to the big truck as well. I made it a little bit stronger. Let's see how well that does. Let's go ahead and give it. We'll give it the Silverado, buddy. It'll be whatever's on the default. I think overboard. Yeah, there we go. Before I had the suspension strength scale at 4. I've now got a 10. We're gonna run out of fuel real soon. See how we land a jump though. Yeah, I'm gonna reset this truck's tune just to make sure it's not gonna try to kill itself. still, looks like it's in slow motion. I tried to increase the weight to see if that would fix it, but all that did was make it horribly slow, so I undid that change before doing this video. I'm wondering if it's the weight that is causing it to be like that. But the other big vehicle mods, like the Big Gron, they also appear to be in slow motion. But I don't know that vehicle's weight, so maybe it's the size, maybe it's the weight, I don't know. I'll experiment with it. Let's see if I can get this truck into an odd situation. Oh. Yeah, look at that. We got really grabbed, and nothing broke. That's good. Let's land in a really stupid way here. Alright, we broke front steering, but, you know, that's better than breaking off the entire front axle. I think that's what would happen before. I'm not sure if I actually increased the strength of the steering. Maybe doing that, it'll get the whole truck to be more resilient, like a giant, oversized truck probably should. So yep, a little bit of a shorter video. Maybe not, I don't know how long this video actually is, but now you've seen what I've been working on. Bringing back some old stuff. And adjusting grip and strength of new stuff. As well as showing off this new track. One other thing I didn't show is that you can now put the ZF axle and old standard axle onto the old suspension. So either what I've done is I've actually renamed them from vintage and old style. You're not going to be able to see here. Let's just do regular CRD. We go to suspension. I've done is vintage suspension and vintage suspension stronger. Vintage suspension is old style, and stronger is old vintage. Why? Because the old vintage I actually buffed the strength by 10 times so that it would not break instantly. But this new suspension model seems to have been okay to import. That's cool. So if we go over the axle, we can put on the ZF. And here we go. Let's do this. And up front, we can put on the regular front axle. So we can have a different look. And then, of course, we got the vintage suspensions with the coilovers. I'll see if I can put on the regular suspension coils as well. Yep. Old suspension model. New axle model. New old model, I mean. Whatever. You know. That's it. If you guys enjoyed, you can leave a like, favorite, comment, share. And of course, don't forget to subscribe as well. Thanks, Gameboy out. I'll see you all in the future. Goodbye, everybody.